Halo guys, Zenski di sini. Welcome back to my new channel. Kembali lagi di event Genshin Impact. Sekarang Petualangan Fantastis Thelxie. Thelxie ini nama orang kah? Hari ini kamu menerima komisi dari asosiasi. Oke. Langsung aja ngasih, kita mulai. Nih orangnya, kok dia larut? Katanya dia ngasih.
That can't be right. Oh, but what if they're real after all? No, that can't be. But what if there's a chance?
Greetings, miss! Is there something that's bothering you?
Oh, no, it's nothing. I'm Della Roche, the representative of the Fontaine Fishing Association. How can I help you?
Kami dapat misi.
Oh, so you're adventurers. Oh, finally.
Padahal gua nggak
Someone
dapet
has heard my
misinya.
prayers.
Paimon could tell you were really bothered by something. Don't worry, you've got two super experienced adventurers right here. We'll take care of anything and everything for you as long as you pay us a little bit of mora.
Oh, you are exactly the helpers I need. See, the problem is that the fish around a fishing spot at Erinnyes have just all up and vanished recently. They disappeared too quickly for it to have been the work of human anglers. As the representative of the Fishing Association, I had planned to go and investigate the area right away.
Tapi
Right, but unfortunately, as the representative of the Fishing Association, there are a few other errands that I absolutely have to run. So
you'd like us to investigate the spot for you?
exactly, you're right
Exactly,
on the
you're
Mora.
right.
So I thought I could delegate this work to you. Are you two some kind of prophets, knowing exactly what I was going to say like that? Or maybe like the oracles you read about in fairy tales?
bukan, kami
Yeah, we're
petualang.
just really experienced in this kind of
Si
thing, that's all.
petualang.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'll get a good night's sleep knowing the two of you are on the case.
But don't we just need to investigate the missing fish? It really doesn't sound too difficult.
No, you mustn't let your guard down. As the representative of the Fishing Association, I have good reason to believe that the fish have gone missing due to an encounter with the water imps.
Siluman air.
Yes, you're both Outlanders, right? Our local fairy tales often speak of a terrifying underwater creature called Thelxie. The story our parents would tell us was always the same. If we went to the water alone, then we'd be snatched away and eaten by a water imp called Thelxie.
A child eating water imp? Did they tell you what it looked like?
My father would always describe it as a beautiful, multicolored snake woman, while my mother said it had a handsome face. It's really strange, though, because you'd also hear other people describe it as just a chubby penguin with a deceptive appearance. Even though the tales vary regarding its appearance, everyone agrees that it's really dangerous. It lives in an underwater cave surrounded by pallid bones and uses its sensitive nose to track down lonely children who've lost their way. And once it finds a child, it uses its alluring singing voice to lure them into the water before swallowing them all. Pretty terrifying, isn't it?
Sounds kinda scary. But isn't that pretty normal for a fairy tale? After all, those kinds of stories are usually made up to help keep children away from danger.
But what if the fairy tale was inspired by a real-life tale, just like how a water vein always has a source?
Ada bukti?
Well, I wouldn't call it evidence per se, but I've heard some rumors lately. They say that someone recently saw a child walk into the water as if he was possessed by something. Doesn't that sound just like he was responding to the call of a water imp?
So you mean someone really got eaten by a water imp?
It's all hearsay, so it's hard to confirm. But still, they all say this happened on Erinnyes. That's no laughing matter if you ask me. Both the Opera House and the Fountain of Lucine were built there, and the sources of many water veins can be traced to the island as well. Combine that with the mysterious mist, The huge tree with expansive underground roots, and the rumor that the fish shops on the island can understand human language. Is it really so shocking that an island so shrouded in mystery could harbor a terrifying water imp as well?
Why does Paimon feel like you're pulling our leg? You're just piling on the rumors now. Still, if someone's really been hurt, then we can't just ignore the situation, right, Traveler?
Kita cek dulu deh.
Marvelous. Then I'll just mark the stretch of water on your map. Don't forget that no matter what, safety always comes first.
Menerka sosok siluman air. Bagian 1. Periksa perairan yang ikannya hilang. Waduh, ikannya hilang kata. Di mana? Waduh, telenya jauh, coy. Teleport dulu lah. Harusnya di sini ya, guys ya.
Is this the stretch
Oh,
of
itu
water
dia.
Delaroche was talking about? It looks really peaceful.
Periksa. Jejak kakinya lanjut terus sampai ke air.
These look pretty fresh. Did
Masih
the water
fresh,
imp
masih
get someone
baru.
again? Let's look around and see if we can find anything else.
Siapa tahu ada petunjuk. Let's go, Paimon.
Wait, did you hear something just now?
Enggak, nggak denger. Suara blubuk kata. Blubuk dari dalam air. Makin kencang. Akhirnya ada yang keluar menceperatkan air. Lah.
Paimon? Traveler?
Wih, suaranya loh, Erinnyes.
I'm sorry. I forgot I was still wearing this.
Di ulti dong muncul-muncul. Erinnyes tidak terlalu pandai dalam bertutur kata, tapi orang yang kenal dengannya pasti tahu. Di balik ekspresi yang dingin membeku itu tersimpan sebuah jiwa yang bermurni. Dia tidak suka dari sorot perhatian dapat mata. Reaksi penilaian orang lain selalu membuat pernapasannya menjadi kacau. Orang penyayang yang handal, dia sudah terbiasa bersembunyi dalam air sembari melepaskan seluruh keluh kesahnya ke Romaritime Flower. Sering berbagi kehangatan satu sama lain. Yang introvert ini tidak menerima misi dari dunia luar. Dia yang milik hotel Buffestead dan keluarga yang tinggal di sana.
Paimon, are you okay?
Paimon nearly mistook you for a water imp. Thank goodness it was just you wearing your helmet.
Huh? A water imp?
Kami lagi menyelidiki tentang siluman air.
Thelxie, you say? How surprising.
Huh? You know that name too? Or do you know someone else who's trying to investigate the water imp?
No, I think our situations are probably unrelated.
Boleh cerita?
Sure, if that's in order. I know the name because of one of my employers. She noticed the clockwork penguins I brought to the workshop and contacted me through the shop's owner. She has commissioned me to make a special toy. Following her request, I've named the toy Thelxie.
Huh? But isn't it a little creepy to name a toy after a water imp? Wait, hold on! Fremina, you never take commissions from other people!
Yeah, but she made a special request, but out of respect for her privacy, I can't really talk about it. It's alright though. She'll be coming over to check on my progress shortly, and I'll just tell her that you're two of my trustworthy companions. Hearing that, she might be willing to share some information, and you'll be able to continue with your investigation.
Huh. Even though you seem a little cold and reserved sometimes, you're still really considerate. Our target isn't necessarily the water imp, though. We're primarily here to
jangan-jangan
investigate
nih
the
lagi
disappearance of the
hydro.
fish.
The fish?
Hydro apa namanya? Oceanid.
I think I may have connected the dots. These past few weeks, I've been taking Thelxie for underwater testing every day. The pressure testing makes a lot of noise.
Oh,
So, all that about the disappearing fish? Well, it was probably because of me.
iya, ngaku.
So that's how it was? That actually makes a lot of sense. Wait, so could that mean the child we heard about who walked into the water was also...
Remit yang lagi siap-siap kerja.
Yes, I think that's quite likely as well.
Kocak.
So in the end, it was just Fremine. Paimon spent all this time imagining what a water imp from the fairy tales might look like, and it all turns out to be just a hoax.
I'm sorry. It sounds like I've created a lot of trouble for everyone else as well. I'll try to finish this commission as soon as possible. Once I'm done, the fish should come back. Thank you.
Actually, how much work do you still have left, Fremine? Maybe we could lend you a hand.
Thanks for offering. But I can't trouble you any more than I already have.
Thanks for offering.
It's no trouble at all. Didn't you just call
Terima
us
kasih
your
atas
trustworthy
tawarannya.
companions? Companions are all about helping each other, you know?
But don't you need to report back to your commissioner?
Nope, that's not how it works. See, Paimon's got these commissioner types all figured out, even though we were just tasked with finding out why the fish had gone missing. If we tell them now that it was all just a misunderstanding, you can bet they'd just immediately hand us another commission to
Paling
help them get
pengalaman
the fish
segudang
back.
tuh.
Exactly! So if we can help you finish up your work and get the fish back, that would save us an extra trip!
Is that what you'd like to do as well? Huh.
Bang Paimon bantu.
Alright, I'll trust your judgment. Please follow me. I've made a makeshift camp over there.
Bikin camp gitu. Oh, itu campnya.
I've stored Thelxie in the tent.
Wih, boneka
He
ya.
can respond to some simple verbal
Oh,
commands.
itu sih.
You can try calling his name and see if he'll come over.
Whoa, sounds pretty advanced! Let Paimon give it a try! Hey, Thelxie!
Thelxie. Wih, itu apa tuh? Bentar, pause. Ini D, ini B. Ini W, ini B. DB. Ini apa titik panjang-panjang teh? Titik panjang A, titik panjang-panjang tuh. Lupa gua.
So that's Fremine's version of Thelxie. It's also penguin-shaped, just like Pear!
Yep. Had Thelxie lived in Penguin Town, he'd probably have become great friends with Pear.
Kampung Penguin.
It's not really anywhere famous or important. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
Hey,
it.
Thelxie! Nice to meet you! Do you know how to say hello?
Ini DB. Oh, DB sih. Tadi juga ngomong hello ya. Tapi ini rasanya ini D, ini B, ini W, ini B.
I wanted to install a language output module,
Model.
but due to time constraints, I had to give up on the idea. As it
Tidak
stands,
keburu.
Thelxie
Oh,
can only
mekanik loh
output
orangnya loh.
messages that were pre-written
Pesan yang
into
sudah
its
ditulis ke
motherboard.
motherboardnya.
I haven't given him the
Belum
ability to
pasang
convert
fitur
those
mengubah
messages
pesan
into
dalam bentuk
discernible
kata-kata,
words,
jadi dia belum bisa berbicara.
so he can't really talk to us just yet.
Ya ini apa namanya? Voice actornya sih sabar banget buat ngomongnya ya.
So
Pelan
basically,
gitu.
you want us to help you complete and install this language module, right?
No,
No.
there's no need.
There is no
That
need.
wasn't one of my employer's requests. It was just something I wanted to try.
Eh,
I have two other things I'd like
is
your
there
help
something
with.
one I try?
The first is to do some integration testing on Thelxie's motherboard to make sure he will be able to function properly in most situations.
That doesn't sound too hard. And what's the other thing?
The other shouldn't take too long either. You'll need to find Thelxie some colorful shells and coral so I can craft a weapon for him.
Jadikan senjata
A
Thelxie.
weapon? Will Thelxie have to fight?
Thelxie will need to be able to charge forward with a weapon in hand. Like that brave prince of
Di
legend.
dalam cerita.
It's a part of my employer's request.
What an imaginative employer! Naming Thelxie after a water imp, but wanting him to look like a prince?
Nah, gimana ceritanya?
Well, regardless of his role or species, Thelxie's purpose is the same. Just like Pear, he has come to this world to serve as somebody's companion.
Nah, nih bahasa Morse beda lagi nih. Ini D, ini P, ini N. DPN, panjang-panjang titik panjang tuh Y. Y atau Q ya? Y atau Q. Ini B, ini titik 4 tuh H. Ini O. Jadi apa? DPN YB H O P titik panjang titik tuh L atau enggak F.
Whoa, Thelxie just said something again! Could he understand what we were just talking about?
He can react to certain key words, but unfortunately, due to the lack of a translation module,
Belum dipasang
he
modul
still
penerjemah.
can't quite communicate with us.
That's a pity. But anyway, the most important thing right now is for us to get to work. Maybe let's start by doing some testing on the motherboard. That sounds like something we can do here in the camp.
Sounds
Betul.
good. The motherboard is on my workbench, so please follow me.
Di workbench. Thelxie. Nah, Thelxie itu bonekanya.
here we
Gue kira
go.
nama orang yang
I have this
punya itu.
testing manual, so feel free to reference it if you get stuck. Want to give it a try? It's okay if you don't succeed immediately.
Kita buat Thelxie.
I've got a lot of backup boards just in case. Okay, knowing you, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it
Oh,
out.
kamu sih pasti ngerti sendiri nggak tuh? Coba nih. Hah? Klik kiri dan tarik untuk merakit sirkuit. Oh. Oh ya ampun. Copot. Oh. Gampang dong. Debugging siap, debugging berhasil. Keluar debugging.
You're doing well. Just as I expected.
We've taken on a lot of similar tasks before, you know.
Then let's move on to the underwater part. It's just as I
Oke,
mentioned
itu mungkin
earlier.
misi pertama
We're
ya.
after
Apa?
colorful
Bagian
shells
event dari
and coral.
bagian event pertama.
Speaking of which,
Bagian pertama dari
we're
event.
both
Nah,
already pretty used to Fontaine's underwater environment.
ya
right?
gitu deh.
Okay, that's good.
That's
Just
good.
let me know if you ever feel uncomfortable. I'll make sure to stay right by your side.
Apa nih? Pergi ke perairan yang disebut Freminet. Gimana tuh? Wih, ada itu tuh. Aduh jauh. Terlalu dangkal. Gue lupa nih orang bisa nge-skill coy. Bentar ya. Lah cara nyelamnya gimana nih? Maaf.
It should be right over there. We'll be able to find something that'll help us with our search.
Tulun.
This is it. We call this thing an echoing
Wih,
conch.
ada ikonya loh.
It can detect special reflection waves in the water to help us with all kinds of underwater exploration and excavation efforts. Here, try it.
Try.
Did you notice any interesting places? The echoing
Cari
conch
bahan
should have
untuk membuat
detected some
senjata.
just now. Let's go check them out.
Terus gimana? Oh, ikutin nih. Oke. Nggak keambil. Jadi pencet. Yang terakhir. Tip.
Alright, these should be enough.
Kembali ke kemah.
Let's head back to camp. Thank you for staying out here with me all this time.
Lah, ada yang nembak tuh. Oh. Apa orang-orang Fontaine doang kayak bisa berenang kayak begini? Coba ya Raiden Shogun ya. Gak bisa. Gak bisa. Tahu. Gak bisa. Orang-orang Fontaine doang yang bisa itu. Yang bisa apa berenang lompat itu ya. Jauh juga, Muter. Lah, ini siapa nih? Orang yang tadi kan? Beda deh. Zuria. Zuria Destre. Destre?
Ah, Fremine, you're back. I thought you might have been out diving.
I'm sorry, Madame Destre.
Madame
I
Destre.
must have kept you waiting. I can report, though, that the construction of Thelxie is going
Report.
quite smoothly.
There's no rush. I'm your
There is no
employer, not
rush.
your supervisor. And these two are...
They're two of my trustworthy companions. They're here to help me work on Thelxie.
Yes, I see. I suppose it's only natural for someone responsible like you to have some reliable friends.
It's really nice to meet you, Madame Destre. Are you
Madame
Femine's
Destre.
employer? Paimon is Paimon, and this is the Traveler.
Greetings, my new friends. Just call me Zuria. You are both
Zuria.
so adorable. The sight of you reminds me of little fairies under a cottage roof.
Oh, do you really think so?
Masa aku juga mirip peri?
Of course. If my child had friends like you, then perhaps he wouldn't have become so obsessed with the tales of water imps. And I wouldn't have had to trouble Fremine here with this commission.
Obsessed with the tales of water imps?
Ah, so you don't know anything about my request yet? I would have thought Fremine had explained it to you already.
Well, Fremine told us that it was a private matter, so he didn't want to just share it willy-nilly.
I see. So Monsieur Fremine is even more discreet than I had thought. As you are assisting him with the project, I believe it'll be beneficial for you to learn more about its vision and history. But it would be quite impolite of me to simply pile all of my troubles on you without your permission. So, would you like to listen to my story?
What a
Sure,
story.
you can tell us anything. You've already said nice things about us, so we'll try our best to help you get through your troubles.
Ah, what a lovely little fairy. Then let me think of a way to put my situation into words. I'm sure you're already familiar with the tale of the water imps, right? Simply put, parents came up with a story, painting water imps as scary abductors in an effort to convince their children to stay away from the water. My child is rather special, however. While most other children are terrified of Thelxie, he's infatuated with him.
Infatuated? With a water imp? What a brave soul.
Yes, he told me that he thought the water imp might have just been misunderstood. In his mind, instead of singing to abduct children, the water imp actually sang out of a longing for companionship. As a result, He often goes near the water in secret.
So he wanted to become friends with the water imp so it wouldn't be lonely any longer? What a unique way of thinking.
Thank you, little Paimon. He indeed has always stood out from the crowd. He was actually diagnosed with loneliness syndrome when he was only 8 years old.
Sakit kesepian.
It's a type of mental disorder. Those affected by it often feel extremely lonely and lose interest in many mundane activities. The syndrome is probably what made him so determined to become friends with the water imp.
Oh no. Is it a very serious disorder?
If you were to become afflicted with the disorder, Paimon, you would only be able to say less than a fraction of the words you're saying to the traveler now.
No! Paimon won't accept that! We would have to find a doctor to help cure Paimon. Paimon has a 2,000-word quota for daily conversations with the traveler and she won't settle for a single word less!
Apa tuh
The
ngomongnya?
family doctor has already begun to treat my son, but since the disorder is rare, there aren't many good regimens for treatment. He's also developed some new symptoms lately, such as uncontrollable delusions.
Huh? Uncontrollable what now?
Halu.
Uncontrollable delusions. To put it simply, he can no longer differentiate between fantasy and reality, and spends all his time in his fantasy world.
Then what is he seeing in his fantasy world?
It's a dream that he often mentioned to me when he was younger. I've compiled what I could understand of his recent rambling. It goes a bit like this.
Pada suatu ketika di Salasia Plain terdapatlah sebuah kerajaan siluman air yang makmur dan sejahtera yang terletak 500 kaki di bawah permukaan laut. Begitu banyak siluman air yang hidup di rumah keong dan terumbu karang. Mereka binatang laut di kala siang dan bernyanyi bersama teman di antara tidal emas di kala malam. Semua orang menjalani hidup yang bebas khawatir dan diberkati hingga hari raya Kemilau 7 warna tiba, ketika sang raja yang baru akan dimahkotai. Sebelum festival, semua siluman air akan memilih mutiara milik mereka yang paling berharga, membungkusnya dengan dahan yang dedaunan dan dedaunan emas, lalu memberikannya untuk pangeran paling dikasihi. Pada hari itu sang pangeran akan menyeberangi jembatan pelangi yang terbuat dari keong, lalu menerima mahkota dari ayah yang diiringi sorak-sorai dan tepuk tangan seluruh warga kerajaan. Lalu sang raja baru akan memberkati semuanya dengan doa-doanya. Dan nama pangeran itu adalah Thelxie.
Amazing!
Oh,
Your son came up with all of this? He really...
But perhaps no beautiful dream can ever last long. You see, the story ended with a twist.
pada hari raya Kemilau 7 warna, pangeran datang bersama banyak sekali monster buas. Monster yang kejam mengantarkan rasa takut dan sudut yang dahsyat ke lubuk hati para siluman mereka yang bernyanyi dan tidak kuasa melawan para monster. Kerajaan itu pun jatuh, lalu runtuh. Sang pangeran melarikan diri dan membantuan orang bertemu misterius, tapi dirinya telah kehilangan segalanya dan hanya melalui hari-hari sambil melanjutkan nyanyian ratapan dan lagu kesepian sang pangeran hanya dapat didengar oleh anak kecil yang sama kesepiannya.
How could the story end like this? Is that kind of fantasizing what caused your son to develop his loneliness
Merasa
syndrome?
nggak adil kah Paimon? Sabar ya.
Well, it'd be more accurate to say that it was the syndrome that caused such terrible delusions to manifest. But in any case, the biggest problem is the patient eventually loses themselves to the fantasy world of their own creation.
Maksudnya?
My poor child can no longer differentiate between imagination and reality. He's begun to see himself as
Oh,
Thelxie.
khayalannya.
Perhaps in his mind, the loneliness he felt became the same as that of a prince who lost everything he ever loved or stood for.
What? So that's what you meant by uncontrollable delusions. Then we have to
Uncontrollable
help him snap out of
delusion.
it.
Alas, most of the time he acts as if he can no longer sense or interact with the real world at all. I've had several discussions with the doctor. and we think it is best to try to guide his fantasy.
Jalan terbaiknya ya.
He once wanted to make a picture book of his imaginary world.
Ini kayak apa ya?
But
Mesti
since the
manjain
disorder
gitu sih
progressed too
mengikuti
quickly,
hayalan.
he never quite got past the first page of the book. If we could use this
Tapi
book
ya
as a
ikutin lah
breakthrough
alur
for his
ceritanya.
condition. Here, you can take a look.
Apa nih? Oh, fotonya.
So Zuria's son also saw Thelxie as a penguin. Oh, he looks so sad.
Mana
What
muka?
we should do now is help him complete this picture book. However, we'll lead the story to a different ending. One where the water imp prince is eventually able to restore his kingdom with the help of his friends. We'll need to chase away his loneliness and sorrow and let him perceive a world full of hope again. That's what I mean by guiding his fantasy.
Oke.
But if we just need to finish the picture book, why does Fremine need to make a Thelxie as well?
Iya ya,
Because we need to
kenapa?
treat the book story seriously, as if it's a history of things that have really happened. We'll need to go on a journey like Thelxie and help him regain his crown and country. But my child can no longer go on a journey of his own. This is why I commissioned Fremine here to craft a Thelxie, and then I'll paint the journey with this
Oh,
Thelxie
itu
into the picture book.
tujuannya.
Ah, like a stand-in for your son. Paimon's starting to get it now. Oh, you really put a lot of thought into this, Zuria. Paimon still has one question though. Where will we be able to find a water imp kingdom?
There are some ruins on the seabed of the Salacia Plains. I've already asked Fremine to research them for me. We'll be able to use one of the ruins as the kingdom.
Oh, so we'll just need to act out a performance of, a brave journey through the kingdom of water imps. As long as we chase away the monsters in the ruins, it'll count as chasing away the monsters in the water imp kingdom, right?
Sadly, no. We won't just be putting on a performance. It's just as Zuria said. We need to take this seriously. And the only way we can take this seriously is if we choose to believe everything that's happening is real.
So we'll be playing it straight? Or, making it a fully immersive experience? Oh, neither of those really sound right. Well, either way, we'll still be able to help, right?
It's all right. There's no need to get that serious.
Everything is all
It's not a big
right.
deal. I believe in my son. We can just see this as him wanting to stay asleep for a bit
Mau
longer.
bagaimana lagi
Because
kan
he's so
kata
enamored with his
Zuria.
dream.
Zuria,
Keep your spirits up, everyone. If we were to look troubled, my son is sure to become anxious as well. I should be heading back right about now to check on my son. We temporarily
Anaknya, kan?
moved to a place on the hill over there, so my son will have a better spot to convalesce. It's not far from the water, and there's also a great view. Feel free to come find me if anything urgent comes up.
understood.
Feel
There's
free.
also one last thing. Since these two friends were able to help me out, I've made some more progress on Thelxie. I estimate that he should be ready sometime tomorrow.
That's great news. I must thank you all. With that in mind, how about we meet here in 2 days' time to head to the Kingdom of Water Imps? All right, everyone. Let's meet again in another 2 days.
Zuria sure is a brave and optimistic lady. Fremine, do you think her plan will work out?
Let's discuss that over by the tent. There were a few things that I didn't bring up because the madame was here.
Belum selesai. Bicara sini kah? Apa nih? Jurnal perkembangan. Nanti aja lah ya.
What is it, Fremine? What did you want to say?
If you don't mind me asking, I would like the two of you to mentally prepare yourselves.
Prepare.
This is the first time that you've met anyone with the syndrome, right?
Iya sih sindrom yang unik.
I know you two are both really strong and will do everything you can to help the child. But with the syndrome being the way it is, if things don't... If things don't quite turn out as we wish, I hope you'll be able to accept the outcome and not put too much blame on yourselves.
Fremine, why do you bring this up all of a sudden? Didn't we just promise Zuria that we'll be optimistic about everything working out?
It's not that I'm not optimistic. It's just...
Kamu tahu banget ya di soal penyakit ini.
So that's why you looked like you knew exactly what she was talking about. Wait, Fremine, don't tell Paimon that you also...
No. Please don't misunderstand. I've never had it. I've just seen many cases of it at the House of the Hearth, back when we lived under the previous director. They say there are many factors surrounding the development of this illness. I've heard everything from hereditary factors and one's state of mind, to environmental factors and even ley line disorder effects. Some even say it could be caused by contamination from god remains. And from the cases I've seen, there weren't many positive outcomes. In the worst cases, the patient could even pass away.
What? It could get that serious?
Bisa separah
And
itu
yet
loh.
Paimon thought they just stopped talking as much.
Yeah, that's just the nature of it. So if you'll find it difficult to cope with the worst case scenario, I would prefer that you back out right now. I don't want you to help only to feel like you failed.
Aku bukan anak kembaran,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's right. Paimon's seen all of those things too. No matter how hard it might get, we won't be scared.
Really? Then in that case, let's see this real-life fantasy adventure together to the end.
Yeah! But Paimon has a question. If this illness can really be as bad as you've described, then do you really think Zuria's method will be able to help? After all, we'll just be using a toy as Thelxie and some ruins as the Kingdom of Water Imps. The whole adventure will only be turned into a picture book for her son to read.
Well, I think it should be able to do something. To harbor a fantasy means that the child wants to save himself somehow. The only reason he's allowed his dream kingdom to fall is because he's lost control of his heart.
Oh,
But if we can help him regain control and escape from the darkness, we'll be able to change his world. Like helping someone who's lost their voice be able to speak again.
Oh, Paimon sees what you're saying now. Huh. How do you understand all of this so well, Fremine?
Well, maybe because I've also had many of my own dreams in the past. I even had my own fairy tale world, much like that boy's. I was able to draw a lot of support from it, so I believe in the power of fantasy worlds. So you remembered.
What Penguin Town? Why doesn't Paimon remember? Is that also a fairy tale world? Don't leave Paimon in the dark!
ayo.
Hey, why did you put that on?
It's just one of my personal quirks. Please pay it no mind. Anyway, Penguin Town is a peaceful place with lots of penguin residents. They're all really good at making clockwork toys. And Pear is the town's triumphant hero, as well as the one who quietly protects the whole place.
Pear? But didn't you make Pear yourself?
Well, I often think that Pear only came to me because he realized how much I needed him. So it's not so much that I made Pear, as Pear chose me as his friend.
Fremine, are you sure you're not losing control of your fantasies as well?
No, I don't think so. I can still differentiate between fantasy and reality. I
Oh.
just believe that the fairy tale world of my dreams must also exist somewhere. It might just be hidden, which is why it's difficult to see. Or it will only reveal itself at very specific times.
Specific times? Like when you put on your diving helmet?
Yeah, that's the general idea of it.
Really? Paimon just said that because you put on your helmet.
Have you ever observed the surface world from underwater? It's as if you're viewing a whole different world from the outside. It's a very surreal feeling. Both alienating, but also as if you're being protected by something. I have a similar feeling when I put on my diving helmet. In those moments, it's possible to see some truly wondrous things, as if a fairy tale has become reality. It's almost like a sort of miracle.
Really? Like a miracle?
Well, if that's in order.
Bercanda woi, ya itu perintah.
Hey, don't you still need time to work on Thelxie's weapon? We don't want to keep you from finishing your commission.
Right. I still have to collect some tools I'll need to craft the weapon. I've got to finish everything before tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me, Paimon. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities for you to try my helmet. Thanks for all of your help. I'll be off for now. Let's meet up here again in 2 days.
2 days. Quest selesai, menerka sosok siluman air. Oke guys. Wih, 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 wih. Wih. Keren betul, keren Ada 3 bagian ya. 1, yang kedua dalam air, yang ketiga di dalamnya lagi. Terbuka setelah menyelesaikan negeri pangeran. Petualangan Thelxie. Nih lagunya enak ya. Gimana warnanya, mantep gak warnanya? Oke guys, mungkin sekian dulu untuk video kali ini. Like, comment, and subscribe this channel. And see you in the next video. Bye bye. Wah.